Have you ever felt like something is about to change, but you can't explain what? As if the world around you is the same, but inside you. Was everything quietly preparing for something greater? This video is not an ordinary prediction. It is a calling. A message for those who feel before they see. For those who wake up at night with a restless heart. For those who no longer fit into a superficial life. If you've come this far, it's not by chance. Perhaps this is the confirmation that his soul has been waiting for. So take a deep breath, open your heart. And listen carefully. Because what you're about to hear can activate an old memory inside of you. Even before the earth shakes or the water roars, the movement already begins in silence. This is not news, because it is more subtle. It is something that is born from within. A growing restlessness, the feeling that something is out of place, despite the apparent external normality. Do you feel that? Not everyone does. They are few, but they are scattered around the world like beacons. And each of them, in one way or another, receives the same signal: get ready. Not with fear, but with awareness. Something is approaching, not only in the outer world, but also on the energetic level. This is not a new message, but now it returns with new strength. For decades, people have been given visions, dreams, symbols. Some have been ridiculed, others silenced, but the signs continue to come. And when sources separated by time, culture, and continents point in the same direction, it's worth taking a closer look. July 2025. Name: foreboding of the date. But it is not about panic or expecting catastrophes like in the movies. There is something bigger at stake than a tsunami or an earthquake. It is an energetic call. It is a sign to the awakened ones. A warning to those who feel the ancient shell of the world cracking, because something greater is rising from the depths. It's no accident that you're hearing this right now. Everything happens for a reason. And perhaps these words awaken in you an ancient memory that comes not from the mind, but from the center of your being. If something inside you resonated, don't ignore it. Perhaps this is where the scattered fragments will begin to fall into place. We don't talk to everyone, we talk to those who already feel what has not yet been said. Now, listen carefully. The wave starts long before the water rises. Chosen, there are messages that are not transmitted by ordinary means. Sometimes the truth hides in the most unexpected places, in a book, in a painting, in a dream transposed to paper. This is exactly what happened in 1997, in Japan, when an artist published a work that, at the time, no one understood. His name is Ryo Tatsuki, little known, reserved. She never sought fame or recognition, but her dreams were always rich in symbols, depth, and an almost prophetic power. And one of these dreams inspired the creation of a manga that, years later, would shake the entire world. In this work, released independently and without the support of major publishers, Ryo portrayed detailed scenes of destruction. A gigantic tsunami, people trying to escape, the sea that first recedes and then quickly engulfs the cities. And the most surprising thing, this was not a reaction to the tragedy of 2011. These images were created 14 years before the catastrophe. On the cover of the manga, there was the date March 11th. The same date that the tsunami hit Japan. Many ignored it. Some attributed it to chance, others did not even pay attention. But after the tragedy, the manga began to circulate again, and what once seemed like fantasy began to be perceived as a forgotten warning. Why is this important now? Because the same Ryo had another dream. And this time, a new date has come up on it, July 5, 2025. Ryo made no predictions, he did not promise anything specific. She simply shared what she saw, images, symbols, sensations. And again, she wasn't taken seriously. In her notes, she describes underground tremors, churning water, a tense silence before impact, an atmosphere of eager anticipation for something great. It does not point to a place, it does not give scientific explanations. It simply conveys what came to her in a dream. But those who feel it understand, one does not have to see the whole picture to recognize the calling. Sometimes, a single internal push is enough to realize that something important is approaching. The interesting thing is that this new dream had a different quality. It was not just a vision of destruction. On it were spiritual symbols, ships carrying souls, wet clothes, as if they had been left by someone forever. In this message one could feel an energy of transition, of profound transformation, and of the conclusion of a stage. Someone will laugh, someone will consider it a figment of the imagination, but the chosen ones do not laugh at the invisible. They are attentive, because they know that the spiritual world does not speak directly, but through images, feelings, repeated signs. And when the message is repeated, when the symbols converge, it is time to listen with the heart. This story is not to scare. It is a reminder that the whisper always precedes the shout. And if he is not heard, the consequences may take him by surprise. Ryo Tatsuki is not a psychic. She is a sensitive soul who dared to draw what she saw in a dream. July 2025 may not bring anything visible, but the wave is already in motion. And those who feel it know, some dates are not just numbers, they are portals between worlds. You don't have to believe it, but maybe it's worth remembering. The chosen ones do not live by logic, but by inner knowledge. And if something inside you resonated, keep going. This story is just beginning. Not every warning comes loudly. Sometimes he is hidden in dreams while the world sleeps. Some dreams are portals between what is to come and what has not yet been understood. Ryo never sought attention. Her dreams were rich in symbols, scenes, and sensations that she carefully recorded. In 1995, she dreamed of cracks in the earth. Soon after, an earthquake struck Japan. Then, the water receding and the return of the tsunami. Later, the tragedy of 2011. His dreams were accurate. She did not interpret them, she just recorded them, as if she received an energetic impression of what was about to happen. Now, a new date, July 5, 2025. A city surrounded by water, a cloudy sky, explosions in the distance. And most importantly, the feeling that something is forming, and the world doesn't notice. This warning is not so much physical as it is spiritual. Too many symbols to ignore. People being carried away by the current, others being lifted up. Ships, lights in the sky, a peaceful silence in the midst of chaos. The dream spoke of two processes simultaneously, the external and the internal. The cycle of the earth and the cycle of human consciousness. As if we are on the threshold where the separation between the asleep and the awakened will begin. It is not the end of the world, but a moment of transition, of something that the soul already feels, the approach of change. The earth has already been through this. Ancient civilizations have left traces, and dreams, if true, only remind us of what the soul has known for a long time. Ryo's dream may seem like just another story if you decide to look at it from the perspective of logic. But it can also be a key to something that, without explanation, resonates in the depths of the soul. And the chosen ones know this feeling. Something vibrates inside, although the mind cannot explain it. If lately you have been having strange dreams, if you wake up with forebodings, if it seems that time flows differently, perhaps your soul is also receiving signs. And maybe it's time to stop looking outside and start listening inside. Those who are able to hear, will feel it. Even if no one believes it, the signs will not disappear. They continue, because time does not wait, and the cycle, once started, follows its course. Chosen, not every tsunami carries water, and not every tremor happens on earth. Some begin within, invisible to the eye but felt by the body, heart, and spirit. And, perhaps, this is the real warning. A spiritual tsunami that is already underway long before the wave arrives. Rio's dreams didn't just speak of destroyed cities and natural disasters. In them, there were symbols that cannot be ignored. Gigantic creatures at the bottom of the ocean, explosions that do not come from the surface, but from the depths. Wet clothes hanging in the void, silent ships with serene faces. It seemed that these images told another story, hidden under the layer of the obvious. What if this is a message? About inner purification, about the destruction of old structures that we carry within us. And the receding sea is not only the ocean, but life itself. The spiritual tsunami does not warn. It is felt as tiredness without a physical cause, as the desire to disappear, to isolate oneself. It is the soul that feels the approach of the great wave. With this movement, everything that is false begins to crumble. Masks, relationships without truth, paths that we choose out of fear, and not because of an inner calling. The wave sweeps away what is not firm, not to destroy, but to clean. Many are already going through this process, but they are unable to name it. It seems to them that it is a crisis, loneliness, exhaustion, but in fact it is an adjustment, a restructuring, a transition. Water destroys only what cannot be sustained. And even though the chosen ones tremble, they remain, because they feel that the trembling is a birth. Yes, something inside breaks, but at the same time, something emerges. A new way of being, purer, truer, closer to the truth. This is what dreams show. Not only the fall, but also the rise. If you're going through this internal tsunami, no, you're not falling, you're forming. This wave did not come to drown, it came to awaken. Chosen, what is happening now has happened before. Not exactly the same way, but with the same energy, the same calling, the same pattern. The earth does not move by chance, and the great transitions always leave a trail. Not in the newspapers, but in the records of the soul, in the memory of ancient peoples, in the whispers of those who lived before us. The ancients knew, time is not a line, but a circle. At certain times, the cycle was completed to start again. They called it the end of an era, a time of purification and return to the source. Each of these transitions divided humanity into those who listened and those who drifted away. The Hopi prophecies speak of a great separation, a time when the earth will be purified, and only those who are in harmony with the heart and the truth will be able to move forward, not by force, but by vibration, not by merit, but by attunement. Other indigenous peoples from South and North America, and Asia, also warned, the sky will change, the earth will shake, and humanity will have to choose, remain in chaos or tune into the new frequency of the planet. These messages are not horror tales, but maps. And it is especially important that they do not come alone. Modern scientists have also begun to notice oddities, not only in the weather, but also in the Earth's magnetic field, solar cycles, and humanity's psychoenergy. Researcher John Thomas, decades ago, wrote about natural cataclysms that arise cyclically. Their works, although controversial, point to a global reboot, not only physical, but also spiritual. A reset of the earth in consciousness. When the same message resonates simultaneously from shamans, scientists, mystics, and sentient souls like Rio, it's unlikely to be just a coincidence. It is, most likely, a confirmation. The universe speaks in many languages, and when all of them suddenly begin to sound in unison, it is time to listen. The year 2025 appears more and more in these sources. In some places, exact dates, in others, only symbols. But the main thing is not the calendar number, but the energy that has already begun to form. It is not just about prediction, it is about perception. The chosen ones do not wait for the wave to arrive. They feel it in advance. Their preparation starts from within. Cleansing habits, reviewing ties, strengthening faith. They know, even without evidence, that the cycle has changed. And when a new time arrives, what is light floats, and what remains stuck, sinks. You feel it. You don't need anyone to prove it. Just look inside yourself. Has your sensitivity sharpened? Have dreams become more vivid? Has there been a feeling that you are being pulled inward, as if what is to come is already known within? These prophecies are not just about the world, they are about you. Because every big change starts with a personal transformation. And when enough souls awaken, the whole cycle changes. Chosen, the time to observe is over. It's time to get in. The transition has already begun. And those who feel it know. The call of the new already resonates in the air. This is neither fear nor hysteria. It's perception, a subtle sensibility that alerts you before the world even notices. Being chosen does not mean having all the answers. It means feeling the invisible before it manifests. Read the signs, even if they are not written. Capture the vibration of things, people, places. And it is exactly now, more than ever, that this ability must be activated. Distraction. The new poison, the mechanical routine, the dependence on digital noise, the endless and meaningless discussions. All of this is just a smokescreen to occupy your mind, as the soul silently calls you to attention. The chosen ones can no longer get lost in this noise. Those who hear the call are required to maintain clarity, even when everything around them is blurry. The essence is not in seeking new answers. The essence is in slowing down enough to listen to those who are already inside. The time has come for conscious silence. Filter what you allow into your consciousness. What do you watch? What do you talk about? Who do you communicate with? Now, everything affects your vibration. Everything either brings you closer or farther away from true preparation. And preparation is not stocking things in the pantry. It is the strengthening of the spirit, the care of the body, the purification of the emotions. Organizing thoughts is praying with intention. Deep meditation is faith without proof, because it is this faith without confirmations that becomes the anchor in the midst of chaos. Now it is also important to observe those who are nearby. Not everyone is ready to listen, and that's normal, but some are about to wake up. They just need someone who respectfully shares what they've already begun to see. You are not obliged to convince anyone, but you can be the one who, at the right time, plants the seed. To be chosen means to carry a silent mission, a mission that is not always conscious, but which is absolutely necessary. And now it's on. The first to awaken prepare the way. The first to listen become a support when the winds of change arrive. The world doesn't need another voice in the flow of noise. The world needs clarity. And it is the chosen ones who remain stable when everything around them falls apart. That bring calm when the wave of fear rises. Who look with the eyes of the soul, even if the world closes its eyes. Be aware. The call has already sounded. Chosen, perhaps you have asked yourself this in silence. What if nothing happens? What if the day comes, the sky is clear, and life goes on as usual? What if no major event happens? What then to do with all these feelings, with this deep inner preparation? Was it all in vain? No, this doubt is not weakness. It's part of the path. The mind tends to ask questions, to demand signs, to cling to evidence. But true awakening is not in the confirmation of something external. It is in what has already changed within you. In the silence that suddenly made sense. In the attention that became deeper. In the fact that you can no longer live as you did before. You did not start this path for fear of destruction. You started because you got tired of a superficial life, because you felt the call to live with truth, with presence, with depth, because you can no longer ignore what pulsates in your soul, even if no one around you understands. The real warning was not about a catastrophe. It was about how long we slept, about how much we lost connection with ourselves, trying to please, survive, or fit into society. And if this warning has made him stop, think, purify himself, and start again, then he has already accomplished his task. Even if the outside world has remained the same, even if nothing has happened in physical reality, it does not matter, because what has already awakened within you is impossible to erase. You have become more attentive to your feelings, more selective about where you direct your energy. You have gained the desire to live with purpose, and that alone changes everything around you. The soul does not need earthquakes to awaken. It needs space, silence, and truth. And that is exactly what this silent call offered him, the opportunity to return to himself, to review the path, to get out of distraction and to take a more conscious attitude towards life. Maybe all of this happened just to remind you of who you are. And if it's just for that, that's enough, because millions of people continue to live on autopilot, without thinking about anything. You don't. You stopped, you felt, you listened, and it already changed your position in space. That has already taken you out of the spot where you used to sleep. These are not exact predictions, it is about perception, the ability to remain vigilant, even without certainty, to keep the faith, even without evidence. True preparation always happens from within, where no one sees. In the depths, in that place where only you and the divine know what is being healed. If the scheduled day passes in silence, know that the process was not in vain. Its transformation is real. And even if nothing happens in heaven, something truly important has already happened inside you. And that's all. Chosen, you didn't get here by chance. If something within you has remained attentive to every part of this message, it means that your soul already perceives what the mind, perhaps, cannot yet explain. You are not here for sure, you seek meaning. And the very fact of this search is already a sign. A sign that something has awakened in you. Many get lost trying to predict what exactly will happen. They need dates, numbers, proof. But the real signs work otherwise. They don't appear in news headlines. They don't scream, they whisper, they touch softly, they hide in the details. And only a prepared heart feels when something genuine approaches. The sign is not a date, a tsunami, or a landslide. The true sign is what has begun to move within you. It is the discomfort that drove him to seek. It's the strange feeling that the weather has changed, even though the clock still shows the same minutes. It is the emptiness that has suddenly begun to demand its presence. It's the feeling that you're being guided, even if you don't know all the answers. If something inside you resonated, write here in the comments. I feel it too. It's simple, yet powerful. You're not alone, and maybe your quote will help someone feel less lonely too. Now, decide what to do with it. If this message has touched you, don't ignore it. Take with you what resonated. Share with those who also need a similar light, but with respect. Remember, awakening is not imposing, it's to light up. And each soul has its time. Each one awakens in their own way. Subscribe to this channel if you feel you need to continue this journey. Here, we are not addressing everyone. We talk to those who feel, to those who perceive, to those who have already begun to remember that they are not here by chance. You're not alone, you've never been alone. And what is about to happen begins right now, within you.